So we're going to talk today about some things that can help you. First thing you need to get you going is inspiration. So I don't know, where do you get your inspiration? If you want something to inspire you where do you get your inspiration? What inspires you to meditate, or what inspires you to want to have peace? And you have to think of where. I'm going to give you some ideas here, like maybe books, music, nature, teachers, many, many things. You need to find something that inspires you to meditate, that gives you an inspiration. We're going to talk about the difference between the two topics here, inspiration and aspiration. So I just want to clarify what they are. So you need your inspiration, right, to keep you going. If you want to meditate, something has to keep you going, whatever it is. The previous experience, or maybe somebody just talked to you about their experience, or you've read something in a book, or you've seen it, or some of you like apps. So you need some inspiration, okay? But what is aspiration? This word, there's aspiration is breathing, but the way my teacher talks about aspiration, it's like this inner cry, something inside you that makes you want to become like the thing that's inspiring you. Okay, like what makes you guys there want to meditate versus maybe your fellow students who would just want to sit and drink beer all day? Why are you different from them? You've got something inside you that's saying, wow, I know there's peace out there somewhere. And whereas somebody else is saying, I don't care about peace, I just want to like survive. Everybody's different. So you have aspiration. You need some cry, inner something. I don't know about you, but when I was 19, as I mentioned 1,000 years ago, I was always saying, there's more to life, there's more to life, there's more to life. And I had nothing in my outer life that I could complain about. I had a nice family. I had a good, pretty middle class growing up. I had enough of everything. So it wasn't that something was missing outside. It was something inside missing from a very young age. And I kept saying, there's a meaning to life. What is it? And I was constantly asking. So that was my aspiration. And then what was my inspiration? I met this beautiful lady who had known my aunt, whom I mentioned last week, that had been in India. And she had this beautiful poise, and something about her, I said, whatever you have, I want it. Show me how to get what you have. And she said, meditate. And she showed me, brought me to my room, sat me down, took a white cloth, put it over a crate, put a picture of her teacher, who then became my teacher, and then just said, look at the picture. And I'm like, what? That's it? But all kinds of things started to happen to me. Immediately, I had experiences. So that was my aspiration. She was my inspiration, and then that was my aspiration, just so you understand. So aspiration is what you get in meditation. Like the more you do it, the more aspiring you are, then you're happier. You meditate, your aspiration helps you to meditate, and then the more you do it, the more you aspire for more experiences, more peace. So there's a lot will happen every day the more you do it, but the regularity is the key. So here's a little poem that my teacher wrote about aspiration. Aspiration efforts always supply satisfaction result. It may take time at times, but the results are unmistakably sure. So the more you meditate, the more experiences you'll get. So just keep doing it. Even if you don't think something's happening, just by wanting to do it and just trying some exercises, you'll find something's going to happen. And you'll start to see a difference. I've had experience with people in my classes. After like a couple of weeks, I see a change in their face. People say to them, are you wearing new makeup? How come your face is shining? Like you look different when you start to meditate. Like your face starts to shine. Why? You have more peace inside you. It's very interesting. And it's not makeup. It's like inner makeup. But you'll see. Of course, we're not seeing friends right now, but maybe online people will notice. So I'm going to talk about today the parts of the being, just so we understand what happens when we meditate. So everybody knows, we talk about these parts of the being and the goals in meditation. When you meditate, the first thing that you have is your crazy body, which is all stiff and crazy. And you can even see I still have carpal tunnel and all kinds of things happen. So we have to make our body calm. So we have to realize that our body's a little bit separate from us sometimes. The biggest problem everybody has in meditation, of course, is the mind. So we have to control our mind and make it silent. We have something within us we call, like around the navel area, which in spiritual terms or meditation terms, they call the vital. This is your energy. And this energy can be used positively through sports and activity and, doing good things. Or it can be aggression, anger, frustration, jealousy, all kinds of negative things. So that you have to recognize that that's part of you, and you want to try to channel it and use it in a positive way. Then, if you start to meditate, if you remember last week, I told you to focus on this part, the center of the chest, which is your spiritual heart. So if you go me, like most people, if you do that, right, you go me, except for one guy I told you went me. 99.9% of people will go me here, which is the center of your chest. So this is where your spiritual heart is. And if you don't focus here, but you focus here in your meditation, you'll find that you're going to have a much, much, much deeper experience. And we try to open this, what we call spiritual heart. If we cut somebody open, you're not going to find it. It's a subtle thing. Don't look for it in the physical. And then, I don't know if I call it the soul, you can call it the spirit, the essence. Your inner self, your spirit, your soul is within the center of your chest. And this is what we want to do. We want to discover it through our meditation. So you may not realize it, but all these different parts of your being are working when you meditate. And you have to recognize each one of them and have a way to figure out how to use them to the maximum. And I'm going to show you an example. So early in the morning, this is what happens. Your alarm rings at 6. So you try to get up at 6 to meditate. What happens to your different parts of the being? So your body is saying, oh, I'm so tired. I only had so much sleep. I don't want to get up. Your body's full of lethargy normally. And then your mind is like rationalizing. Okay, but if I just sleep a little bit longer, I'll be better today. It's normal. We do that. Your vital is just saying, I have no energy, So your mind and your vital are trying to take control. However, your heart is saying, get up, get up, get up. You'll feel better if you meditate. And then you're, okay, do I listen to my body? Do I listen to my mind? Do I listen to my vital? Do I listen to my heart? Last thing, your soul. So your soul is saying, don't listen to those parts of the body. Listen to your heart. Get up. It's going to help you during the day. You're going to feel better. So maybe you're not conscious that all these little parts of your being are working, but they are. And then if you actually listen to your heart or your soul and you get up and you meditate, what happens is we begin to integrate all the parts of our being. So the more you meditate, you're going to find that you'll notice it's almost like a little battle sometimes between the mind and the heart. People are always talking about, do I listen to my mind? Do I listen to my heart? And the mind is very important. If you're a student, you're a teacher, your intellect is important for your work. But if you want to have peace, you got to get out of the mind and go into your more subtle self, your higher self. So that's a little bit of a fun example. You'll see, I have this battle every morning. If you meditate in the evening, maybe you don't have this problem. It's maybe easier for you. But I find that meditating in the morning is much better because it's like a recharge of the battery. It gets me going for the whole day. And the peace that you get from your meditation will actually help you throughout the day, because whatever you build in the morning is there. You can call on it. So these are things, but you got to go by your schedule, what works for you. So now we're going to do a visualization. I've put some pretty pictures of flowers here. We're going to do a visualization on what we like to call the heart garden. First, I'm going to explain it, and then we're actually going to try it. So some of you told me maybe you're not so great in visualizing, but actually visualizing a flower, I think everybody can do that. So the first part, I'll explain it and then I'll lead you through it. But the first, you're going to imagine a beautiful garden of very beautiful flowers, whatever flowers you love, whatever colors you love. Everyone's different. And first we'll imagine this garden. And then the next thing is, after you can see the garden and imagine, you're going to imagine that there's a beautiful child in the garden. So I will lead you through it. I'm just explaining it the first time. And then we're going to try to feel the qualities of that child. So this will be a visualization that we're going to start. So what we're going to do is, someone was speaking about, the best thing is when you meditate, your back always should be straight. Your vertebra should be straight because your energy flows through the spine. So try to be in a position where you're sitting up as straight as you can, even if we don't see you. And also, when you breathe, your breathing should be very gentle through the nose, not through the mouth. You try to breathe in with your fingers in front of your nose. You wouldn't even feel too much. It's a subtle kind of breathing. The other thing we talked about last week was to start a meditation with a mantra like Om. So it's a good concentration. We'll try to chant the mantra Om just to calm the being. And then I'll lead you through the meditation. You keep your eyes closed, it's fine. So the Om, if you remember, it's the O sound, and the M is 3 longer than the O. And when we do it, and next week we'll practice this more in a special way, but you can try to feel the O, like that. So it's like Om, and you feel a bit of a vibration. So we'll do that actually 7 times. It's a mystical number. So we'll try that together. I'll do it and you can do it in your own at home. And then I'll lead you through the visualization. Om. 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 This is the last time. And with your eyes closed, try to imagine a very beautiful garden. Inside the garden, imagine your favorite flowers. Any kind of flower. Now that it's spring, we're starting to see beautiful flowers. It could be tulips, it could be roses, whatever colors you love. Just try to picture this beautiful garden. If you have any thoughts, just imagine that the thoughts are like birds flying through the sky, but they're not going to affect the garden at all. Just see the garden. Feel that you are there inside this garden. You're enjoying the beauty of the flowers. Maybe you can smell the fragrance of the garden, of the flowers. While you're in the garden, just feel the beauty all around you. Peace, harmony. Try to feel this garden inside your heart, as if it's a heart garden. If you have thoughts, just go back to the heart center. There's one particular flower that you like to look at. Just look at the flower. Enjoy the beauty, the fragrance of the flower. Now look in the garden, you see a most beautiful child. The child is just playing happily in the garden. Feel like you are that child, full of the qualities of a child. Spontaneity, peace, happiness, joy, no worries, no cares. It's just you are like a beautiful, happy child in your beautiful heart garden. You have thoughts that are bothering you, just pick one quality of a child that you love. Happiness, joy, innocence. Just focus on that quality. Feel that that quality is inside you, inside your heart. That you are that quality inside the heart, with all the beautiful flowers around you. Focus on one flower. Pick any flower that you like. Imagine that flower. A rose is a very good one, or a lotus flower is in bud form inside your heart center. Just imagine it's closed and try to picture that flower slowly opening inside. So from the bud form, it's this opening. Create a beautiful, open, fragrant flower, starting from your heart center and then opening petal by petal. And then feel after that you are actually, once it's open, you are inside the flower, full of beautiful fragrance, softness. The flower is surrounding you. You can slowly bring the flower closing up petal by petal from outside you, going back into your body and going back into the center of your chest, your heart center. Just let the technique go and just feel the experience of either the child or the flower. there's one quality, something that you particularly have felt, remember that that quality will stay inside you, inside your heart. It's not going to go anywhere. You can call on that anytime. We're going to end. We're going to chant again. We'll chant the mantra Shanti, which is peace, 3 times. And it's just like we did last time. It's elongated a little. It sounds like Shanti. We can do that together. Shanti. 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 Very good. Open your eyes and all look very peaceful. If you don't want to come out of the garden, you can stay there if you want. What does it mean? Of course, you don't have a garden, but it's all symbolic of what actually happens inside you when you meditate. So 2 things. Everyone has a beautiful inner being, which is like a beautiful child. Could you see the child? Some people are quite visual, but others are not. But of course, what does the child represent? You, right? Your inner self. Were you able to see a child that was you or another child? I don't know. Everyone's different. So normally you might see yourself as you were as a child, or you might see your own child if you have children, or you might see a child, but everyone's different. But actually the child represents your soul, your inner self. And when you meditate, you try to get in touch with the inner child that we often talk about. So everyone has those qualities within. And what we're doing when we meditate is trying to bring forward the qualities that we already have. And the more you meditate, the qualities that are within you will start coming forward more and more, and will start to influence your life in a very positive way. So the qualities of sweetness or love or spontaneity, innocence, any of the qualities of the child, that you already have them. It's there. But sometimes we forget because we're so busy with our exams and our work and our life. We forget that we have a beautiful inner child. So we want to bring that quality forward. And so the more you meditate, the more the quality will come. And like I say, at the end of the technique, so you focus on what's there. It doesn't disappear. It's there. It's not going to go away. And you can call on that technique anytime that the quality, you can call on it anytime it's there. And the other one is the flower opening. Would you have some success with this? Because this again is very helpful when you're meditating and you feel this openness and this expansion. This is actually what happens when you meditate. Your inner self is expanding. Because meditation is focus, concentration, but meditation is expansion. Thoughts come when you're doing the technique. Just feel like they're birds or butterflies going through the garden, but they're not affecting how you feel. Because in meditation, everything is about your experience. You're not analyzing, if you remember. No analyzing. What do? You have to recognize, like, what do you do when you have thoughts that come? The bird is a really great image because the bird will fly through the sky, but it won't affect the sky. The sky will still stay beautiful and blue and vast, and it won't affect the garden or your feeling. So that's good. So these are all good things. So you have to find your own way of dealing with the thoughts, because if you do follow your thoughts too much, then you'll go out of the meditation, which is why we do visualization in the beginning. After you've been meditating for a while, I don't do myself any visualization anymore. I can go more just into the meditation. But in the beginning, you definitely need to have some technique like that. Very gentle music, flute music, some kind of maybe birds or something. You have to see what would work well for you. Some people get distracted by that, but other people like it. Sri Chinmoy, my teacher, made a beautiful flute music tape, which is echo flute. I often use that. We often use that in our when it's in the actual meditation classes, we use that. But anything that works for you, is good. If you find that's helpful, then you should do it. So the child's your soul, basically, your own inner child, your own soul. And that your soul is full of beauty, joy, simplicity, love, like a child is unconditional love. So the goal of your meditation is to find those qualities inside yourself and bring them forward. That's what the meditation does. It's getting you out of the mind, out of the body, and just focusing inward. And you'll see that if you live your life from the inner to the outer versus from the outer to the inner, things really start to change for the better. I think you'll notice that if you meditate on a regular basis. So next week, we're going to talk about, the topic is sound to silence, and we're going to talk about mantras. And then I'm going to bring my husband in to the course, and he's a singing bowl expert. He often gives the courses in MORSL. Actually, he's been doing, the past few years, he did the classes, but he has his own, a whole room full of singing bowls and gongs, and he's sort of an expert in sound therapy. So he leads a beautiful meditation with the singing bowls. And so we're going to do that next week. I'll go into the big room downstairs that I have, and he'll lead you through some special meditation with sound, which is really good. He has a little business called Harmonic Vibrations. So it's very, very useful and helpful to work with. And we'll talk about mantras. And so that'll be helpful. And next week, we'll also talk a little bit about the chakras. Everybody know what the chakras are? I think so, right? The spiritual centers. I'm sure you've heard of them, but we'll talk a little bit more about them, just to how they can help you in some way. We don't focus too much on them, and also some meditative poetry. We talked about inspiration. Sometimes just reading something that's inspiring, like a little poem or something, can be a good way to start a visualization, if you have a beautiful poem, or even some music. Sometimes we do some singing. I don't know if we can do that. Anyway, he also can sing very beautifully. He has a really nice singing voice. So maybe he'll sing you some nice meditation songs, and we can maybe post the music. I don't know how. If you go to this website, this is called Sri Chinmoy Poetry. There's a beautiful poem every day that comes out, like an inspiring poem. We spoke about inspiration. So sometimes, just to get inspiration from a little poem or aphorism or something, or maybe some places where you can find some beautiful, inspiring things. But you need to keep yourself inspired. So if you want to meditate every day, something has to keep you going back to meditate. You have to find things like, help yourself to find things that do keep you meditating. And of course, each time you meditate and you have even a glimpse of some peace, it inspires you to go back and try it again. Having your little spot, again, will help you. If you can make your little peace area. Have some flowers if you can, have some little candle, like we said, have a little something inspiring in your spot. This will definitely help you. If you have a book of poems or a book of inspiring thoughts, you can have that, and maybe start your meditation by reading something that helps you to think of something positive. Some of those poems might help you. There are so many things you can do, but you have to keep yourself inspired. It comes from within you, but the regularity is really the key. It's the main thing I can't stress enough is that, as I mentioned last week, I never go a day without meditating. These days of isolation, we're meditating a lot more. I'm meditating 3-4 times a day, actually. We're missing our group meditation, unfortunately, but this has to substitute for now. Maybe after this is all over, people can get together again and meditate. You find it's actually helpful to meditate with other people, because you help each other. Your raised consciousness actually inspires other people. So